Hey all, this is Paul Carter. This is Everyday Counts. This is my Module 15 case study. For Section 1, summarize the case, establish the facts. So, to summarize it, what has happened or what is happening? Well, Mr. Rhodes, or I as the principal, has been charged by the superintendent to improve attendance rate. Once we get to the Christmas break, look at the first semester data, and 5 students have been identified as absent for 10 or more days. When and where did the school events occur? Well, this is all happening at my school, Golden Oak High School. This is my first year, or Mr. Rhodes' first year as an administrator, actually just his first semester. Who is or might be involved and concerned by the situation? Well, I'm going to focus on those 5 students that have been identified. That's Karen. She's a very bright student, but her grades have been dropping as her attendance decreases. She was actually married in August, and there has been a request by parents to meet with the counselor multiple times, and this has not happened. She actually skipped a midterm, and so her grades are plummeting. Tyrone has missed 14 days. He's an average student, has about average grades, but he has gone on 2 different vacations with his family members, and he does have permission from his dad, but the homeroom teacher was the one that signed off saying that that's okay, even though the school policy says that probably should not have. Christina has missed 4 days in a row, 3 separate times, and these have all been for out-of-town religious meetings with her church group. No parent note, but a note from her minister who was taking her on this. And the homeroom teacher has approved all 3 absences again. And because of these absences, her grades have been low. We also have Carl, who is regular classes in the morning, and in the afternoon he leaves for vocational classes for like construction type things. And he's also randomly missed some days. He has been referred to a truant officer in November when the truant officer talked to his parents. His dad specifically didn't think that school was that important. He supported Carl dropping out of school if he wanted to just start construction. There are younger siblings. There's a sibling at the middle school and elementary school as well, but we don't know their attendance rates. John is the quarterback. He has some sort of injury. He has to go to physical therapy twice a week on, I think, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 2:30, so he misses all of his afternoon classes on those days. There's also, the athletic director has given a note to him saying that he can, on game days, so Fridays, every Friday, he's allowed to go home at noon to rest for the game, so he misses all of his afternoon classes 3 times a week. We don't know much about his grades, though, but the athletic directors and teachers haven't reported any of these absences as excessive. So there's a double standard there. So what do parties involved have to say about the situation? Some of these absences are excused, but it doesn't seem like they are excused by the right people. Policies seem to be applied, or in some cases not applied, differently to each situation. Their policy does say excused absences only for illness, death of immediate family, inclement weather, or valid reason excused by the principal with prior approval. And in these cases, it doesn't seem like any of this is happening. So the school policy doesn't seem to be followed in all 5 of these students' cases. So Section 2 is report any illegal or ethical issues. Has anybody been harmed by the action or decision of another, and if so, in what way? And I would say yes. All 5 students have been harmed. Their education has not been the #1 priority for just various reasons. The staff seems to be playing favorites and not applying policy consistently. The football player is allowed to skip all these times, but then Carl is not. And he is reported a truant officer, even though he seems to be about the same, if not less. Does the action or situation contravene an existing law? Yes. The parents, staff, and administrators' actions contravene the school state attendance policy, as well as the homeroom teachers, because the principal's input was not requested like it is supposed to be in advance. Was there a breach of contract? Were the actions discriminatory or constituting harassment? Well, the AD and 2 homeroom teachers, they breached their contract by not following the school /state policy. And then the counselor was also negligent in the case of Karen by not meeting with her or her family like they requested. Section 3 is synthesize exactly what has happened or is happening in a single sentence. Well, my sentence is student attendance rate at Golden Oak High School is declining because a number of different factors, which include bias towards athletics, negligence by staff members, school/state policies not being enforced, and not holding families/parties accountable for their students' education. And this is the problem that we are solving here in this case study. So I need to synthesize the facts that I know for sure. So what are those relevant known facts of the case for the people, the place, and the program? Well, people, this would be the principal, superintendent, counselor, athletic director, teacher, students, parents, and the minister. A lot of people involved. One thing I know is that I'm the first year principal. These teachers, it states that these teachers have been here for a very long time. There's not much turnover. Some of the staff seems to be negligent and not doing their job like they're supposed to be. Student/parent population is becoming more and more diverse. And then they're mostly middle class, but we also have a lower income and even high income. So we have a very diverse school that's quickly becoming more and more diverse. Some things about the people I don't know is I don't know the growth data. How fast are we growing? Is this some of the problem? Because we're only looking at attendance data. We're not actually being given any other data that we can compare it to. What's the past rate of attendance? What's that data look like? So I can do some comparing. So I want to be able to compare to other schools in the districts. We're not the only high school, so what are they doing, as well as schools outside the district in the same area? Are they having the same issues? If so, what are they doing? If not, what are we doing wrong? So what do I know about the place? Well, it's Golden Oak High School. It's a 9th through 12th grade standard high school. There's 965 students. The football seems to be the dominant sport. Lots of athletics. It seems the focus is on these athletics. Most people are middle income, and then most parents are commuting. It seems like a great distance. It even says 1 to 2 hours each and every day, so they're not there and involved nearly as much as they hopefully should be. Unknown, once again, that growth data community, I don't know that. What is the community involvement rate? We know the parent involvement rate is low, but what about the community in general? And then do we have any community outreach to try to get them on board with us as a school? And then the program, what are those relevant known facts? Well, we know that athletics are being valued over the academics. We can definitely see that in the case of the quarterback. Religion is very highly valued in some families. If it is this girl's grades are dropping because she's attending these religious functions, it's obviously a high priority to that family, if not probably more other families. Young marriages are allowed in some families. We know this because one of the students was married before she was even in school for that school year. Unknown, well, culture. I don't know what cultures are actually represented in the high school. That's that community data I need. I know some, but we don't actually have facts. It's just all vague information that was given, as well as what are the percentages of parents involved and what can we do with them to partner to try to get other parents involved. So section 5 is I need to review and prioritize the information. So could the conflict, the situation, or decision be damaging to stakeholders of the community? Absolutely. The school district state policies are not being enforced. Because of this, student achievement is falling and attendance rates are dropping. My staff is not adhering to the policies that we have, which is not good, obviously. Families and staff must be held accountable, and then the football team is not actually even following CASHA rules by having students absent this long, but then yet we're allowing them to play. So there could be repercussions to CASHA even. What individuals and groups have important stake in the outcome? Well, obviously students, parents, community, minister, the teachers, administration, and district officials. It seems to be affecting everybody, so we're going to have to include these stakeholders. Do I have all the relevant have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? In this case, no. The superintendent, social workers, and students themselves and staff involved. They haven't been yet. This is going to be part of my action plan, is involving them. So can I actually learn more? I've mentioned this a few times. Absolutely. I don't know the girls' ages, the legal rights of the parents, the legal repercussions of some of these actions that have taken place. I don't know a lot of this. I'm going to definitely have to do a lot of digging to find those answers. So do I know enough to make that decision? Not yet. I can get there if I follow my action plan, but I must involve others and there must be further investigation. So section 6 is identify your options and possible consequences. So what can I do in this situation? Can I not make a decision or take no action? Absolutely not. Students' education and following state school policy must be taken into account. There's legal ramifications even if I don't. So if I took the absolute strongest consequence and I gave it, and what would that look like? Well, I could report all parties, all 5 of them, to the truant officer immediately. But the community relationships will probably be harmed because if I did this, families were not consulted when their actions have been allowed. They've been signed off, so they could be confused and hurt. Fire all involved staff or breach a contract. Well, this is going to anger all the rest of the staff. Obviously, the ones fired. This could promote distrust. Possible legal action against the school by these teachers, and then obviously just negative PR towards my school. What other strategies could I use? Well, this is my action plan, is this strategy. For my staff, I'm going to do building-wide professional development on school state attendance policies and the consequences for not following them. I'm going to have private individual meetings with all those staff that signed those documents and explain to them why that was unethical, why that was wrong. And then I'm going to present to them a clear action plan, which is kind of this, presented of attendance expectations moving forward, and they'll have this next second semester to improve on these. So for my community, I'm going to, the state school attendance policy, I'm going to distribute that to all community members as well as post it on the district website so everybody understands what must be followed and what I'm enforcing. I'm going to have private individual meetings with all 5 families. We're going to review that state school policy and explain the importance of their student being in school. Section 7, so my options that I have, it says if no action take place, there would be no positive. If I do nothing, there are no positives. If my options presented are actually followed, these are the pros and cons that I came up with. Well, pros, I'm going to build positive trust and relationships with the stakeholders. I'm going to clear policies are followed in each situation. There will be professionalism of following these. Future situations will actually have policies that are going to be followed. School vision for attendance has been implemented and followed. People understand where the vision of the school is with their attendance. Some cons of this, though, I could still face some anger from staff and or community members. Carl actually could still drop out of school because his parents could care less if he attends. And the football team may suffer if we report and their students are not being there, they actually can't play. Section 8, choose the best option. How can my decision be implemented with the greatest care and in attention to the concerns of all stakeholders? Well, honest conversations with all, following those policies and enforcing them fairly and ethically. What is best for students is the #1 priority. Got to keep asking yourself that. And then we got to make sure academics is valued over athletics, which it isn't yet at this case. So I have all stakeholders been consulted in my action plan. Absolutely, yes. Through the private individual meetings we had with stakeholders, community has been informed. I've even brought in that staff development. So have I identified creative options? Yeah, because immediate harsh action didn't take place. Thinking what is best for all students and even staff was my #1 priority. So my section 9, so imagine implementing a decision. What would it be like if I actually did this? What am I going to do? Well, individual meeting with all parties involved, establish that clear school vision in regards to attendance policies, train my staff and the community on the policy. I'm going to give all parties that second semester, since this is happening at Christmas break, give them that second semester to prove that they understand. So what could happen because of this? Well, attendance rates are probably going to rise, but I could anger some of those veteran staff that have been there forever. Carl could actually drop out of school, anger from the community members who all needs to be involved. Well, I'm going to bring in the stakeholders, school staff, superintendent. Can I handle this alone? No, I'm a first-year principal. I must involve the superintendent, the social services, and help build trust and prove that I'm being ethical to my other staff members. Am I warning instead of threatening? Yeah, because all stakeholders are actually informed. They're not threatened. I am following state school policy. I'm letting everyone know that the policy must be followed. So what am I going to do if this solution actually fails? Well, I'm going to continue to involve others, the superintendent, social workers. And then if those staff members that were already breaking, if they didn't actually fix their issues, I'm not going to renew their contract for the next year. We can't have that in my school. And then truancy policy will be enforced for all families, no matter if they play sports or not. So justification, did I promote the academic success and well-being? Yes, I did. What is best for students was #1. Respect for staff and parents was taken into consideration. Did I provide clear evidence that I'm better preparing my students for the future? Yes, because attendance and academic success and growth was focused on. Did I promote collaborative effort among key stakeholders? Yes, because I involved them in my decision making. Did I support every student in adults learning? Yeah, because the students' attendance was a focus and developing my staff professionally. Did I inspire my staff to pursue new creative approaches? Yeah, I did. Through professional development, staff is trained on strategies to promote that attendance. I just don't expect that randomly through them. Did I influence student achievement by creating challenging supportive conditions? Yes, by training staff on attendance policies, I'm helping them create a supportive situation where students have we have high expectations for our students. And lastly, did I support my teachers through creating positive working conditions and allocating resources and constructing appropriate organizational systems and helping engage? Yeah, because I followed the school vision for attendance, creates an atmosphere that is focused on academics. Did I manage my resources well? Yes, because I used professional development time to do this. And did I reflect on past experiences? Yeah, because as a first-year administrator, I involved others, that superintendent, social workers, in my decision making. So all in all, I feel like I have solved this issue in a way that is ethical.